Could Jack Doherty versus Danny Aarons be saving influencer boxing? Find out on today's episode of the Happy Punch News. Hello and welcome back to the Happy Punch News. I am your host, Donna Corby, and we have got an absolutely stacked show today. I want to get straight into all the news stories, so let's start with Ryan Garcia and the potential reigniting of the feud between Oscar De La Hoya and Floyd Mayweather. So everybody knows that Floyd and Oscar fought each other in 2007. Floyd got the W. I mean, he never lost. He never took an L. He went 15-0 as a professional. And now they're fighting as promoters, with De La Hoya sending out a warning saying basically, hands off Ryan Garcia, after a recent meeting between Ryan and Floyd. So here's essentially the story. It starts out with Ryan Garcia beating Oscar Duarte in his last fight and setting himself up to fight Rolly Romero for his super lightweight title. But then talk started between Golden Boy, his promoters, and Devin Haney for a potential bout for his world title. And Haney versus Garcia is a massive fight. They fought each other 6 times as amateurs. They've gone 3-3 in the amateur ranks, and now they're coming together as professionals. Devin Haney has never lost. Ryan Garcia, only the one loss to Gervonta Tank Davis, and Ryan is undoubtedly one of the biggest stars in world boxing at the moment. So we were moving great. We even had a March date more or less set for Haney versus Garcia, but then Ryan met up with Floyd Mayweather, and all of a sudden he was back on the Rolly Romero train. Rolly is of course Mayweather's fighter. He's on the Mayweather Promotions banner, and now it seems like Ryan is going to fight Rolly. So Oscar has come out and he's basically said, hands off Ryan Garcia. Floyd, look, if you want to teach him about boxing, sure, but you are not his promoter, and stop trying to act that way. He put on an Instagram story, pre-run with Floyd, Ryan wants Haney. Post-run with Floyd, Ryan wants Rolly. Golden Boy has worked with Ryan Garcia since he turned pro, and together have made him the biggest draw in boxing. We will make this fight with Rolly into a huge event, as we always do. Floyd, if you want to give Ryan the secret to defense in the ring, that's great. Other than that, if you're still a promoter like it says here, go. So it looks like we've got Oscar versus Floyd like the good old days as promoters this time instead of in the ring. Well, there is a little bit of a push and pull at the moment between Ryan and Oscar. There's kind of been one for a while, but everyone remembers the famous hands on the head moment from De La Hoya at the last Garcia press conference, the Bernard Hopkins incident at that same press conference.
And I put 28 years in this business of boxing, in the ring. 28 years in the ring. I believe I got some credibility.
Eddie Hearn, of course, took the mickey out of them here on Happy Punch.
It's absolutely mental. I mean, can you imagine me tweeting about one of my fighters going, I'm very concerned about their mental health 2 days before their fight, and standing behind my fighter in the press conference going, like, the whole thing is like a circus.
So what do you guys reckon? Should Ryan Garcia be fighting Rolly Romero, or should he go ahead and fight Devin Haney? Both of these fights are going to happen. Ryan, for his part, has basically said Haney's going to be an even bigger fight once he gets the belt off Rolly. But that's a big statement to be making, once he gets the belt off Rolly. He's not necessarily guaranteed to beat Rolly Romero, a very, very tough challenge. He's only lost the one time to Gervonta Davis in that fight. He's a world champion, and I think Ryan Garcia shouldn't be counting his chickens, and he probably should be going to fight Devin Haney. Regardless, he seems to be wanting Rolly Romero, and Oscar De La Hoya has had to send a little warning shot over to his old pal Floyd Mayweather. So our next story, we're going to stick with boxing and find out what's happening between Callum Smith and Artur Beev. So the fight is going ahead on Saturday night in Quebec City. Beev is the world champion at light heavyweight. Callum Smith coming over as the away fighter to Quebec City, which Beev now calls home. And basically, there was what's called an atypical finding in one of Beev's December drug tests. Now, an atypical finding is not a failed drug test. It's not an adverse finding. It's not a fight canceller. And the fight is going to go ahead because what an atypical test does, it essentially requires you to do extra testing to make sure that you are clean for the fight. So, on his December 6th test, Artur Beev showed an atypical result for raised levels of HGH and a testosterone metabolite. So he had to do 4 extra tests. He had to do 2 urine tests and 2 blood tests. He did all 4 of those between the middle of December and January 3rd, and he passed all of them. So that fight is going ahead. So Beev has come out, and basically he was concerned that Callum Smith was going to start saying that he failed the drug test or that something had happened. He did not fail. He had an atypical finding. The fight is going to happen. Callum Smith has agreed to that. But Kevin Ioli, who initially covered the story, was sent the following statement by Artur Beev. It has come to my attention that Callum intends to disseminate misleading information about my VADA testing program for this fight. Let me be clear now. I am a clean athlete. I have never tested positive for a banned substance throughout my amateur and professional career, and I complied with all VADA requirements and protocols during the build-up to this fight. Any attempt to imply otherwise, through innuendo or suggestion, is slanderous and libelous. This conduct is beyond acceptable trash talk in combat sports. Callum is already searching for excuses, looking for a way out. See you Saturday. So Callum Smith did do an appearance on IFL. Here's what he had to say about the fight.
When I seen like obviously they were talking about it and like the emails and stuff, and along with Varda, and I think they were saying no, it is suspicious, but it's not a violation. It's not a failed test. It's not a adverse finding. It's atypical finding. So unless it's adverse, then nothing really happens. So my reply was, well, why tell me then? Just leave it as it is. The fight's still happening. I'm here to do a job. It's just, like I said, I don't really understand it all. I don't really know why I got told about it. If they say it's not a failed test, so it is what it is.
Next, let's get into the title of this video. Danny Aarons, the British YouTube star, has called out Jack Doherty for a boxing match, tagging Misfits Boxing and wanting the pair to fight. So first off, Doherty seems to be totally with it. He says, "Fight me, bitch," in response to Danny Aarons saying the same thing. But he almost immediately started backing it off. He made one demand that he get wired $1 million instantly. Then he said Danny had to do it for free. And now he seems like he would rather fight one of the Island boys. Now, a lot of people are looking back at this old clip of the What's Good podcast where Danny did talk about wanting to fight Jack Doherty.
Mate, if he wants it, I'd smoke him still.
That's
and he
a
knows
huge right.
Mate, he's a little scrawny twerp, mate. Really?
Yeah, that's the fight.
There we go.
Pay them the big bags right
Doherty.
now.
Jack Doherty, if you're watching, mate, you got this coming for you, all right?
Is Danny Aarons going to keep taking W's in 2024? We don't need to tell you guys about Danny and Tennessee Trash. He is taking a lot of W's this year after their stint in Locked In. It looks like they might be hooking up. Lots of pictures of those two together. I think personally, when you're taking that many dubs, an L's got to be coming. And look at this clip of Jack Doherty dropping somebody in sparring.
130 left.
Come on, put those hands up!
Now, will Danny Aarons' run of good luck come to an end, or will he be the guy that saves streaming forever and gets rid of Jack Doherty? Because I know that he joked about having a security guard in the ring with Jack, but everybody wants to see Jack Doherty get his face pummeled, and if he gets into a boxing ring, he could do it. However, he doesn't seem super confident. He says he'll only start training once he's been wired $1 million. Typical Jack Doherty fare, where he calls out the fight and almost immediately backs down. But a fight like this with two big names, we've talked about Kai Cenat and IShow Speed fighting each other. Something like that would save the influencer boxing scene and would give us such a boost, such a shot in the arm, where we're looking for new stars to be made. Everybody wants to see Jack Doherty get knocked the out. So I think we've got to see that fight. Mams Taylor, let's make it happen. $1 million for each guy, and let's see Jack Doherty finally get cream. So let's stick with the streamers getting beaten up. Sneako has been called out by one of the best jiu-jitsu practitioners on the planet, Mike Musumeci, for a fight. So Mike famously has this kind of geeky persona, but he is a killer on the mats in jiu-jitsu. He's one of the best black belts on the planet. He was given his black belt by Gilbert Burns, and basically you do not want to mess with Mike Musumeci, but that is exactly what Sneako did when he said this on his stream.
Like, how is there a combat sport where these people, like, they look like the Soul Boy collage? How are they winning combat sport competitions? What the?
So Mike jumped back in and basically called Sneako out for a fight, said that he wants to bully the bully in this video on Instagram.
I'm going to talk about bullies. Bullies are weak people that make fun of others around them, that give themselves relevance, and that make themselves feel good. They pick on the differences of humans, which is the most beautiful part of humans, their uniqueness. I really don't like bullies, guys. And there's this guy named Sneako making fun of me, making fun of my friend, making fun of jiu-jitsu. He calls himself a boxer. I'm a jiu-jitsu guy. Let's have an MMA fight. I challenge Sneako to an MMA fight. I'm going to shut his mouth, and I'm going to take the bully's lunch money.
So obviously, if the two were to fight in MMA, Sneako would have no chance. He barely has the boxing training that they're talking about. And he admitted that himself. He almost immediately went back into, oh, I'm a civilian. Look, let's roll the footage.
I make jokes. I'm a streamer. I joke about everybody, me, chat, everything, all day, every day. What? I said in that video you're upset about, you would make me tap in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. You would win. In MMA, even with striking, you would go, this is what you would do. Grab my heel and do the same you did to your master. You would win. You're a world champion. I train boxing sometimes. What the do you think the result was gonna be? Is this a skit? I was looking at this and reading through the comments like, is everybody pranking me? Is everybody in on some sort of joke?
Now look, am I saying Sneako isn't a complete coward? No. But I actually think Musumeci is being the bully here. This guy has years of experience. He's been a black belt for almost a decade at this point. In MMA, against a beginner who's not super athletic. He's in good shape, but he's not super athletic. A guy who isn't a particularly good boxer in an MMA fight. that would be bullying, using that skill set against someone like Sneako. Because Sneako made a little joke, and yeah, I know Sneako is a complete bitch, and he definitely should be fighting Brandon Buckingham, our own Happy Punch fighter, by the way. But I do think that Mike actually is kind of bullying Sneako by even suggesting such a thing, given the massive skill disparity between the two in combat sports. I was getting slated in the comments yesterday for claiming that Chase Demore really should have won his fight. So I want to know, am I going to get slated on this one too? Let me know. Anyway, that is all we have time for. Thank you so much for watching. I've been your host, Stunna Corby. I'll be back with you tomorrow for another Happy Punch News episode. Please share, like, and subscribe, and I will talk to you soon.